Hello, welcome to my channel. This is BrailleDash. This is my very first video I am uploading, and it's just going to play as my little introduction of what BrailleDash is, what the plans are for the future, and just to kind of give a little description about myself. So, BrailleDash is a company I am currently working on finalizing, getting everything registered and legal, just so I could provide training for anybody who is looking to learn how to read, write in Braille, or even to use a refreshable Braille display. If none of that sounds familiar, then definitely I would recommend starting with the very basics of just learning the grade 1 uncontracted Braille. But that is my plan moving forward. Once I get everything finalized, is to start uploading, little clips of, what it is Braille includes when you're trying to learn it. I am going to offer those private lessons. I'll even have lessons posted on different little learning platforms. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of Skillshare. I'm definitely going to move on to there once everything gets finalized. So that's a bit about the company. Someday down the line, I'm also going to begin a book club using this company as well. This is going to be more like a social media kind of thing. So I am also on Facebook and Instagram. I'll paste those links below. That way you could go and follow and just check out, latest updates for everything. So a book club is just more personal kind of pleasure. I enjoy reading. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and I always enjoyed doing it within a group where everyone could kind of talk about, what's going on in the book, what book to read next, and, what we didn't like about the book, different things like that, right? So I'm trying to do this sort of reading club to be accessible for everybody. So, you'll have options to read it, whether you're using Braille to read it or you want to do audiobooks. So we have free services like Bookshare or NLS Bard to find those books that I'm planning to kind of begin that book club. Again, that's going to be down the line. I'll definitely post about it and notify everybody once that kind of gets started. So again, that's just something to look for in the future. So just to kind of give you a little brief introduction about myself, my name is Janet. I was a Braille and assistive technology instructor for about 4 years, working with people who were visually impaired or blind. Everybody was, at their own different levels. Some were still adjusting to it. Some have been blind for, a couple years, and they're just trying to find a way to go back to school, look for a job, or just to do things at home. And I use Braille for one, and then the other one I incorporated Braille with assistive technology. And it was really nice, getting to see that everybody was finding a way to do things that they once, really enjoyed doing. So I myself am visually impaired, and I went through a really difficult time where school wasn't really helping with support on how to, access different school platforms, how to access the school itself. They were very new to it, so, I couldn't put much blame to them. They didn't know what to do or how to handle it. So it was very rough, and learning Braille was something I had to do on my own. The first time I was introduced to it was I moved out into Arizona for a couple years, and out there I came across a teacher who provided training on it to a certain extent. So the school provided her contact information, and I'm grateful that she introduced me to it. But just the training that she offered was not ideal. She gave me a slate and stylus, a Perkins typewriter, and she wrote my name out with contractions, and she just told me, your name's written on this page, and I put contractions in it. Again, I had been very new to Braille, so I had no clue what contractions were. I didn't know how to read the Braille. I'm not sure if you read it up and down, left to right. I didn't know how to write in Braille, so having that Perkins writer or the slate and stylus, they were just kind of, paperweight, as they say. So it wasn't very informative learning Braille that way. So I want to say I took about, anywhere between like 4 to 6 months of just trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was obviously failing classes because I wasn't getting that support from school, and everything had to be magnified. So I am legally blind, so I am able to see large print. But I mean, I could only do that for a certain amount of time before I begin to, get a migraine, a headache, and it's not ideal. So eventually I just, I got frustrated, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this myself. I went onto Google. I found a little worksheet that had the entire Braille alphabet and the list of Braille contractions. And again, I was very new to it all. There wasn't many things offered online to kind of help support and show you how to do it. So I just, I got some paper, I used the slate and stylus, figured it out, and just created my own flashcards. They weren't great. They were very, makeshift. You could tell that, somebody was rushing to make them. And yeah, it wasn't ideal, but I was able to memorize the entire Braille alphabet, including the contractions. But a lot of it didn't make sense to me still because, contractions have certain rules and it just became very confusing for me. But I was able to memorize the dot formations. So when I moved back to California, I was referred over to Department of Rehabilitation. They referred me over to this company that taught Braille. And that's kind of where I was able to solidify my knowledge in Braille. They were able to explain to me, how to use it, what to do with it, how it was read. And unfortunately, I had learned the old Braille code that no longer was being used. So I had to do this whole transitioning course to learn the new code. So it was a mess, but it was, I'm glad that I'm able to use it, and having, taught it and seeing how it's really changed other people's lives is really nice. And, that's the goal moving forward with this company, is just to try to show people that there's other ways to do things without needing to use your vision or having to rely on audio, because that was my problem, where I would use audiobooks for textbooks and I hear one sentence and I forget it by the next sentence. So audio wasn't really an option for me. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit just to kind of explain this video itself. Just a couple of my little hobbies I like to do. So the reading club, I did explain I do enjoy reading. So that's one thing. Another thing is I enjoy collecting these little mini Loungefly bags. So you will see them a couple of times in my videos just because I love showing them off. They're really cute, really fun. Some of them are tactile. So for anybody who's visually impaired, you may be able to feel some of them. Unfortunately, the one I have now isn't tactile at all, so I'll just describe it. The reason I chose this one, this is a Winnie the Pooh mini Loungefly bag. I chose this one because it's my very first Loungefly bag I bought. And, figuring this is my very first video, why not first time for everything? So this bag, it is all white, and it's got little yellow bumblebees kind of splattered all around the bag. It's just all over the sides. On the back side of the bag, it's just, black straps, black back. So nothing really special there. But the front and the sides of the bag, it just has a bunch of bumblebees, really cute. And then at the very front, the front pocket, it's got this little yellow outline to show you where the zipper is for the front pocket. And you've got Winnie the Pooh in the corner, and he is just, enjoying a jar of honey. So super cute. These are very tiny, very, portable, I guess. I don't carry much with me, so it's the perfect size for me. Currently, I am only collecting Disney ones. This is my, Winnie the Pooh. I've got a bunch of others. I got Mulan, Little Mermaid, Rapunzel. No, I don't have Rapunzel, but I do have, I also have Alice in Wonderland, a bunch of little random ones like that, Sword in the Stone. I'm not being sponsored by Loungefly, but, I just figured I'd share this just because I love the bags. They're super cool. They're super fun, really cute. And again, like I said, some are tactile. So I have a Dumbo bag that you could actually feel the outline of Dumbo, and it has little clouds on the top. You can feel those outlines. So it's really fun. So if you are visually impaired, some bags are, tactile. So it would be fun to kind of be able to feel some of those. So that's just a little bit about why you're going to see some bags in my videos. Most likely you're going to have almost all my videos will include my little bags. Another thing I have is my background. I have a beach setup. I've got a palm tree over here on my right, and on the left side of me, I've got like the ocean and everything. Unfortunately, I'm not really at the beach. I would love to be, but I put on some sunglasses just to kind of fit the mood. So, a lot of my videos are going to have some of these fun little backgrounds just because I kind of like making it a little different, a little bit more fun, and more visually appealing for anybody who is visually looking at this. So, let's see. So from here, what I'm going to do, I'll explain a little bit more about the stuff I'm offering. So right now I do have two shops. I have one on Etsy and on Amazon. They're both the same title, BrailleDash. And I am offering flashcards right now and then a couple of games. So I'll briefly show you one of the games that I'm selling right now. This game is No Thanks. It is adapted, so it is blind friendly. So anybody who wants to play with sighted people, you'll definitely have the option to change from, using Uno to using something different. This card game is really cool because not only am I adapting it so it has some braille so you're able to read it, but it is large print. So if you are low vision, you'd be able to see this print on here. And then obviously I'm going to have the Braille adaptation to it, so anybody could play them. So that's just an example of one of the games I have here with me. Going on to the flashcards, I'm going to do more videos explaining more in depth about these flashcards, but this one's just more a brief little introduction of the different flashcards I'm offering and, you know, what to expect in them. So the very first flashcard I have, the set, it's a small little box. I want to say it's a 3.75 by 4.1 size box. It's 1 inch high. It's a very small box, very compact. It's sturdy to keep the cards, you know, safe, waterproof. So the very first one I have here is the alphabet. So it's just the ABCs in Braille. So at the very top, again, because it's for new people who are learning, you'll have the shape of the letters. You have the shape A, shape B, shape C, and underneath it you have the Braille letters forming the word alphabet and underneath that card. So the point of these cards is I wanted to make them accessible and for independent learning. So when I was learning, I didn't have sighted help. And it was very difficult to, you know, rely a lot on my vision, which again was straining, caused headaches, but, you know, got through it. But I wanted to avoid people going through that or, you know, getting frustrated that they don't have any sighted help to see these flashcards. So everything about these flashcards are tactile. There's no print on them. So I'll give you an example for this one, this alphabetic card set. It just has the Braille shape on top. So let me go back, take a step back there. So the very first card that you'll have in this set is going to tell you what the card set is. So this one just says alphabet cards. So if you can't read Braille yet, I would say skip the very first card. But on the next card, it's going to have the shape of a full Braille cell. So what you want to do is you're going to turn the cards, instead of holding them landscape mode, you're going to turn them portrait mode. Doesn't matter which side, the Braille cell is the same either way. But holding it portrait mode, you'll have the shape of the Braille cell. So again, Braille cells have 6 dots. You've got 2 columns, 3 rows, and it has all 6 dots that form the letters. So that's the second card. Next card, you are going to have the start of the alphabet. So the very first one, of course, is going to be an A. So you have the Braille shape on the top of the card. Underneath it, it's going to have the number that the cards are, that the letters formed. So like the letter A, for example, it's formed with the dot 1. So underneath it, it's going to have number sign and then 1. If you're brand new to Braille, I want to say just ignore this bottom part of the card because it won't make sense. But if you are trying to get, you know, refresher on Braille, you should be able to kind of, you know, recall some of these formations, especially if you remember, if you've learned numbers. So you'll have number 1. So it just lets you know this is dot 1. And then on the back side of the card, it's going to have the shape of the letter. They're all capital letters. So this one, if you trace it, it's going to form the shape of the letter A. So it just lets you know, again, independent learning, right? So it just lets you know this dot 1 is representing the letter A in Braille. It's going to be the same thing for all the other cards. Next card, we have 2 dots. You turn the back, you realize, okay, this shape is the letter B. And again, you just trace the outline of the letter. So that is the alphabet cards. The next set I have is going to be numbers and punctuation marks. So self-explanatory. This case, similar to the alphabet, it's the same sizing. This one is a little bit bigger deck, but this one includes, like it says, the Braille numbers and the Braille punctuation marks. This one's a little bit bigger than the alphabet cards just because there's a little bit more punctuation marks than there are letters. So this one, again, very first page, very first card is going to tell you, you know, numbers and punctuation marks. And then following, it's going to have the numbers. So the number cards, what I did is I had the number, the Braille number on the top. But on the back side, you actually get to feel the number formation. So it actually have a trace of the number 1, of the number 2, of the number 3. Again, it's the point of it is for tactile learning, so you'll be able to feel it out, so you know what it is on it. And then following that, you have punctuation marks. There's a little bit something, again, I'll go more in depth, but just a brief review on these. The punctuation marks have a full Braille cell. And then they have the punctuation mark next to it. The reason for that is because some of the punctuation marks are, the dots are in different placements, and it's kind of hard to tell where this placement is. So like, for example, this one, you have dots 2, let's see, we have dots 2, 5, and 6. But if I didn't have this full Braille cell indicated in the front, all right, quick note, I do own a couple of cats, and from time to time, they may come in view. This is my one cat. Her name is Chrysanthemum. She likes cards, so you may see her from time to time. So apologize in advance for that. All right, so going back to these cards. So the punctuation marks, you may have a full, you'll feel the full braille cell in front of it, followed by the punctuation mark, just to kind of give you a dot locator so you know where these dots are formatted. But again, if you don't, at the very bottom, I did put the dot numbers, so you'll be able to tell, okay, this one is dots 2, 5, and 6. And then on the back side, it obviously it has the answer, which it will spell out capital sign. So you just, or this one, for instance, this one's a period. So this one will say period. So you know that this formation is a period in Braille. So again, brief little intro on how, those cards are used. Now I have two more sets. These next two are a little bit more personal learning. So it's just more if you want to increase your Braille knowledge. This set is computer Braille. Again, same size shape of the box. It is a 3x4. And at the very front, again, I have the label and it says computer Braille. So it just lets you know that these cards are all computer Braille. The computer Braille, if you're not familiar with it, it's mostly used with Braille displays. So if you haven't used a Braille display, computer Braille won't really make much sense to learn because you wouldn't really need to use it. It's only used when you have a Braille device connected to your phone or to your laptop or standing alone. It uses different symbols for different things. Again, I'll go in the video if you are interested, a different video, explaining what computer Braille is, but I do offer those. The next cards that I have for anybody who is trying to learn Spanish, I have Braille Spanish cards. These Spanish cards are a little bit thicker. It's the same size box, but these cards, there's a lot more cards to it. So the Spanish cards, I included the Braille alphabet, all in Spanish, and then I have the Spanish accent marks. So if you have like the ñ, the little N with the squiggly above it, or the A with an acute accent, they are included in here. These are similar to the uncontracted alphabet cards that I sell. This one, you just go to the back of the card and you feel the shape of the letter, and it lets you know, okay, this structure is the letter M in Spanish. Same thing with the accent marks. You'll just feel the shape of the letter and then the little accent mark above it. And then this deck, what I did, I included punctuation marks with it because there's not many punctuation marks used in Spanish. So, it all fit in this little pack. So you have all of it kind of included together. They're all bounded together. So, you'll go from Spanish letters to the accent marks and then to the punctuations. So, one thing to note with these is that I did write on the back of the punctuation marks. At the very top, I have the English form of the punctuation mark. So if it's a period, it'll say, period in English. And underneath it on the bottom half of the card, it'll be the Spanish word. So if you're somebody who speaks Spanish and knows a little bit of English, you'll have that Spanish translation underneath it. Or if you're learning to read in Spanish, this one will give you, the indication how you say some of these punctuation marks in Spanish. So I have those. And then the last set I have, again, currently I'm working on a new one. I'm working for Jumbo Braille, but these are the ones I'm offering right now. So this next set, they are contractions. So this is grade 2 Braille. These come in 2 big boxes, so they're very obvious and easy to distinguish from these other cases because those are a lot smaller. These come in 2. There's a lot of contractions. There's over 150. So the cards didn't fit in one box. So if you order these, you get 2 boxes in them. And I need to make a longer video with just the contractions because these are set up differently. Because these contractions are set up in pairs. So I broke up the contractions in sets. It makes it easier to learn because there are different sets and rules to these sets. So the contractions, you're going to have a bunch of little bounded up stack of flashcards. It makes it easier to learn. It makes it easier to memorize the rules to each one of them. And that's going to be one of the reasons why you'll find a bunch of them separated in here. So again, brief little thing. The very first page, the very first card, it's going to tell you the name of the set. So for example, this set is going to be short forms. So at the front, it says short forms, and behind the card, it's going to tell you the rule. And the rule for short forms is you could add any letter to them as long as they don't form a new word. Again, I'll make a longer video explaining a little bit more in detail, but that's the rule for short forms. So then you go to the next card. Next cards are going to be all the short forms you have. So similar, at the very top, you're going to have the short form. So here you're going to feel the letter T, G, R. So you have TGR at the top. And again, if you can't make out one of the shapes, if you can't make out like what is this? Is this a, you can't make out the G in between. You would just go down here and it'll tell you the first formation is dots 2, 3, 4, 5. The second formation is dots 1, 2, 4, 5. And that lets you know, okay, the second letter is a G. And in the back, you have the answer. So you'll have the word spelled out, uncontracted, and it'll tell you the word TGR, or the contraction for TGR is the word together. So that is kind of how those contraction cards work. So as of now, those are the only things I'm currently selling on both Etsy and Amazon. Again, I'll post those links below. I do have a Facebook and Instagram account where I post a bunch of new updates, things that I'm currently working on, the process, and how things are going. I'm currently working on creating these the flashcards, but for jumbo braille. So for anybody who can't read the standard size braille shapes, you'll have the jumbo size, so it's going to be a lot easier to read those. So I have that in the process, and I'm also currently working on a training book. Again, I am planning to offer private tutoring sessions on how to read, write, how to use braille in general. So I'm creating a training book that's almost done. So once I get that ready, copyrighted, published, and everything, I'll be able to start offering that service as well. So again, just, if you follow me on any of those, you'll get updates on all of those new upcoming things. But other than that, I think that is it for all. For now, again, if you want to find any of these, they're really helpful, really neat little things just to kind of help either you're trying to, refresh your memory on how to read Braille, if you want to learn how to use Braille, or just something you want to use to practice if you're already learning Braille. These are just good little practice tools if you want to use them. So other than that, thank you for clicking on this thing. And again, if you have any questions or suggestions, you could definitely leave them down below in the comments. Thank you.